The following podcast is a part of RadioMisfits.com. And now it's time for the Mr. Nailsin Show. Well, what a week in review to do, huh? Yeah. So right off the bat, of course, we had a massacre in Nashville. But of course, the priority, according to our intelligentsia, is just don't get the mass murderer's pronouns wrong, you know? I mean, this is like I've often said that jokes are prophecy, because the type of jokes people would do all the time years ago. He says, yeah, but that's just an exaggeration. It'll never get that bad. And now it is, because Ricky Gervais did this joke about the pronouns not long ago. I don't even know if it was a year ago. The scenario being there was these trans women, some convicted of rape, sent to women's prison. And lo and behold, they raped the female inmates. How about that? But the real problem was that the victim would say, and then he raped me. And of course, Gervais made the point, no, she raped you, you know. And, everyone laughed because because of the absurdity of it all. Well, here we have a woman who thought she was a man storm into a Christian school she used to go to. And of course, the targeting of Christians is not to be lost on anyone, but for some reason is. Stormed in and pointed guns not only at adults but at little children and murdered them. But the problem is she identified as he, him pronouns. You understand? Yeah. You better get those pronouns right, or else. I guess that's the message, huh? Now, a lot of times with these, it's like, hey, could you give it 5 minutes before you know? But people who knew her and all this stuff comes out. It's a lot of documentation. There is a manifesto that she left behind to explain her whole reasons behind this and story and whatnot. They did release that there was another target that she had considered, which was a mall, but she opted not to because of the security, meaning there was armed people there. Yeah. See, it's easier when your victims are unarmed, you know. But for whatever reason, we can't get the manifesto because, it's chock full of all kinds of leftist diatribes that the Democratic Party pushes and is completely and utterly beholden to. So then, your mainstream news media. Oh, well, geez, it's really sad. I'm so fearful for trans people. Because, when you get the pronouns wrong. So anyway, that's what happened there, And of course, the usual response in theatrics about guns. Some guns walked into a school and killed people. And of course, the ready-made bills to strip away constitutional rights are ready to go, none of which ever actually apply to the scenario that got everybody upset. They never do. Yeah, but that's not really the point. Buffalo man, more or less, is free now. They let him. He's got to stay in a halfway house situation, but. Something happened. I don't know, something about a news show with some video, which I stand by. The initial clips that were shown at the outset of the January 6th brouhaha exonerated the man. He's a weirdo, but he didn't commit any crimes, especially when he had a police escort through the whole ordeal. It's just the extra footage just backs it all up. There it is, and he's saying a prayer to them. He's thanking them and everything. 4 years they gave him, But, maybe the tide's turning. No, Donald Trump's been indicted, which the only thing that puzzles me is why didn't they just do it initially, like the week before, when they suspected he was going to, and everybody say, Trump's just turning this into something for himself. It's not true. So there's like the thinking, well, why do it? Because this basically, Alvin Bragg has elected Donald Trump the next president in doing this, and Trump will ride this. So whatever chance the likes of Ron DeSantis, which would have been the only real challenge to the nomination for him, that's all but done. He will be the candidate. And the stretching and absolute abuse of law and precedent and what have you here that the Bragg is doing is just devastating to the legal system, And of course, they're all saying that now. They're saying the precedent sets. Of course, this has never happened to a former president before, and all that sort of thing. So now it can happen in perpetuity. So there's reams of crimes that Joe Biden has. On top of the documents, the business deals, the bribery money from China, and all this, on and on and on. Completely documented. Just, I don't care if you didn't pay attention because you don't want to hear it. It's just there. And you're going to sit there, and how long they just all pretended that somehow the laptop was fake, and then admitted it. Okay, it's real. They knew it all along. Well, yeah, but it's damning evidence in there. But anyway, do you really think Joe Biden's going to get arrested after he leaves office or impeached? Because now the impeachment precedent has been shattered because Donald Trump got impeached twice. They had to hurry up and try to get him the second time before he left office. He was done. He was leaving. Well, quick, hurry, impeach him again. Just made it a complete farce. Because it is. But since then, I don't know that warning is going to hold much water for anybody on that. But it does appear to increase Trump's chances of his comeback and everything. As of late now, his attorneys say, look, I'm not entirely certain they're going to give him bail. So that could be another wrinkle. They put him in jail, which you can still be a candidate while in jail, And that's the thing about that. One of the ideas was that, well, at the very least, this would put all kind of obstacles for Trump in trying to campaign and bleed his financial resources with having to pay legal fees and whatnot for lawyers and all that. And so there's some amount of truth to that, except it's Donald Trump. Trump doesn't really need to campaign as much as like Ron DeSantis would, like your usual candidate. And even that was, a lot of that was true the first time around because he was famous and the media really promoted him even though they were attacking him because that's all they would talk about. And they thought for sure this was hilarious that the Republicans were so stupid as to nominate this guy. And it never occurred to them that he could win. It's the obvious desperation and the obvious admission. We got nothing. You can't even make a counter argument to Donald Trump. That's how bad it is. And at the same time, worried about the feelings of pronouns in the face of a massacre of children. So there's no argument anymore. This is done. So, collapsing our currency. Yeah, that's going on while you're paying attention to this circus. Which, probably another reason for it, perhaps. Bragg wants to run for governor. And that's the sad thing about, one of the many sad things about it. New York is in absolute dire straits. And this guy is literally releasing violent offenders, including rapists. And guess what they did? They raped again. But no, he said he would get Trump, and now he's made the moves on that. So, hey, he lived up to his campaign promise. How about that? Just stop complaining about getting raped and beaten and your friends getting murdered because Bragg's doing the job he was sent to do. Yeah. Meanwhile, a guy who did a meme on Twitter has been convicted and for that meme, and faces 10 years. Yeah. Because this is another admission that the Democratic Party absolutely believes that their core voters are so stupid as to fall for a meme that says Democrats vote after Election Day. That's why this guy is facing 10 years. Yeah. He didn't even wear a buffalo hat. Well, anyway, there you go. John Wick did well in entertainment news, and sparking some hopes that a return to 80s action movies type stuff. Maybe that'll dominate in the twilight of the superheroes now. It could be. Some are saying the Mario World movie will start a new trend of video game properties becoming the dominant genre of movies. And so maybe, I don't know. I'd be more interested in John Wick than that, but, So there you go. There's your week in review. And sorry, but that's what happened. All right, here's Sun King.
Smellog's Poop, the super delicious laxative, presents The Adventures of Sun King. Faster than the speed of light, more powerful than an atomic bomb, able to leap the moon in a single bound.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a comet!
It's a UFO!
No! It's Sun King! Yes, Sun King. And who, disguised as mild-mannered tabloid reporter Mark Milktit, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
In our previous episode, Sun King rushed to the offices of Capes Confidential in order to stop Layla Lott from publishing the secret identity of Night Knight. Little does he know that Layla Lott is not Layla Lott, but is in reality Maiden Mud in disguise. And despite the better efforts of Bubba Suds, who is in reality the Flea, fastest bug man alive's attempts to prevent Layla Lott from posting the story by cutting off the power to the offices of Capes Confidential, Layla threatened to do it via her phone. But Sun King destroyed Layla's phone by using his Nova Blast. But Layla threatened to still post it by any means necessary because she would always have the knowledge of Night Knight's secret identity. Thus, Sun King was forced to use his amnesia-inducing kiss. But an unexpected thing happened. Upon kissing Layla Lott, who is in reality made mud, Sun King became weak, nauseous, and fainted.
What are you doing?
What's something different? I feel weak, nauseous, getting faint. Oh!
Holy crap, Layla. Was your breath that bad?
Whoa! What the hell just happened?
How the hell should I know? I've got a night story to get to.
Wow, holy crap, Layla. What's going on with your face?
Oh,
What do you
yeah,
mean?
Layla. Your face and even your hands are like melting
Oh,
off.
damn it! I've lost concentration. I can't maintain my form. This whole stupid escapade is taking too long, damn
Wait a
it!
minute. You're not Layla Lott.
Well, no shit, Baba, but who is she really?
She's a shape-shifting enemy of Night Knight. Miss Mudflaps or something.
No, it's Maiden Mud, you assholes! And you will delay the inevitable. I'm going to expose Night Knight.
Well, Miss Mud, how you gonna do that? We still don't have any power, and Sun King destroyed your phone.
Well, you're gonna unlock your phone and give it to me, or I'll kill Nicky Nail. What? Oh my God! Do something!
Oh, crap. Oh, damn it.
Oh, no. Yeah, I could rescue Nicky Nail in the blink of an eye, but even that might reveal my secret identity. And I don't know if Sun King can recover enough to kiss everybody and make them forget my secret identity as well as Night Knight, so I'll just have to sit here and do nothing. Hope it all works out.
All right, Miss Mudd, you win. Here's my phone.
What? Dick, what are you doing?
What do you think I'm doing, Bubba? I mean, I can't just stand here while she murders one of my employees. Besides, look on the bright side. We're getting quite the exclusive here, so, you know, I mean, it sucks for night-night, I guess, but hey, nothing personal. It's just business.
It's nice doing business with you, Mr. Sun. I need to. And now, finally, Night will pay for what he's done. Gas!
And suddenly, through the billowing clouds of gas, arrives Night-Night and Mubo, riding in on Night-Night's Night Glider.
Night keeps confidential.
Yes, and no sweet dreams of my secret identity.
Hey, what the hell's going on with Sun King? Could the gas have knocked him out?
I wouldn't think so, but I've never really tested it on superpowered people like Sun King, so
Hey, he's coming around.
Oh, Night-Night. What happened? A precautionary measure, Sun King, in case you were unable to prevent Layla Lot from exposing my secret identity. I simply flooded the entire offices of Capes Confidential with my 99 amnesia gas.
Oh, gee, well, I hope there's no severe side effects as a result of the gas, but,
What happened?
well, I gotta hand it to you. You saved
Night-Night,
me from the
Sun
trouble of
King.
having to kiss everybody in the room.
What's going on? I don't remember anything.
Yeah, what the hell? Night-Night, Sun King's here. What the hell happened? Where's the lights?
What's going on?
I can't remember
Oh,
anything.
great gobs of goo, Night.
What?
It's the Mistress of Disguise, Maiden Mud.
Good lord, so she was behind this whole nefarious plot.
Green snot! She's wearing Layla Lott's clothes. She must have impersonated her in order to gain access to Capes Confidential so she could expose your secret identity, Night-Night.
Yes, and that's still the disturbing part. How in the world was she able to discover my secret identity?
Well, yes, but what's even more disturbing is what did she do with the real Layla Lott?
Hey, Maiden Mud's waking up.
What happened? Where am I? I don't remember anything.
Oh no! With Maiden Mud now in the throes of amnesia, how in the world are they ever going to find out where she kept Layla Lott? Well, perhaps we'll find out in the next exciting episode of The Adventures of Sun King!
The Adventures of Sun King is a Nailsin production. All characters and stories are written and performed by me, Douglas Nelson, with music by Kevin MacLeod and other public domain sources. You're listening to the Mr. Nailsin Show here on RadioMisfits.com.
All right, next up on our MCU rumors, which some of which probably have drastically changed by the time we get through this because, you know, MCU's up in the air and all that stuff.
You keep saying that, but, you know, there's always going to be adjustments. Yeah, and that's all it is. It's fine.
Well, anyway, the next one up is this Thunderbolts movie.
Thunderbolts. What, is that like, is that the Thunderbolt from the Thor?
No. Thunderbolts was kind of Marvel's take on Suicide Squad that DC does.
So, like, supervillains being forced to do work for the government type thing?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. Except that's not how it started. It actually had a more original idea, but it's the kind of shocking twist type plot you can only do once.
Like Daffy Duck?
Well, Kurt Busiek did this a long time ago. At the time, they had this big event story.
There's always a big event. It's really great.
No, it's kind of worn out. It's welcome by now, a long time. Anyway, but anyway, the situation was that everyone believed the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and a lot of these superheroes had died.
Oh my God.
But they were actually sent off to another universe where they relived their lives in a different way. And anyway,
Oh, that's
yeah, not worth the trouble. Anyway, I mean, for the time, whatever. But out of this, since there was a void left, suddenly there was a new superhero team on the scene. They called themselves the Thunderbolts. And they were all these new superheroes. Well, it turned out they were actually supervillains. And actually, the Masters of Evil, they used to call themselves.
Masters of Evil? I mean, that's really putting it on the nose, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like Legion of Doom. It's really not a whole lot of positives there in the name. But, this comes from the bygone era of comic books. But the Masters of Evil were the main team of supervillains to answer the Avengers. And since the Avengers were gone, they decided to just move on into the Avengers territory in disguise as these new superheroes. And they were getting praise and everything from everybody. And the idea was that they would get access that the Avengers had and would take over the world and all this type of stuff. Eventually it came apart, primarily because some of the villains started to like being seen as superheroes. So it was an interesting thing. And ultimately, they were unmasked and revealed. And, the main leader, who, was Baron Zemo.
Oh, he was in
yeah. And all that. So I don't know that they'll utilize him. I suppose they will, to have some connection to the comic book narrative. But since then, it continued on, and it became basically a government-sponsored, Black Ops team for supervillains, and eventually even Norman Osborn,
the Green Goblin.
Yeah, he was put in charge of them, and stuff like that. And it led to them taking over the Avengers yet again. With Venom replacing Spider-Man, and a character called Moonstone replacing Ms. Marvel's later Captain Marvel and all that.
Carol Danvers?
Yeah, but, So anyway, perhaps since they're doing Secret Invasion, maybe they'll cross into that. But the lineup they have here doesn't really match up with the original storyline. So basically in title only, and probably some questionable characters to be used for a super team. And that's basically what they'll do. So it won't really have quite the overall elements that made the original Thunderbolts idea special.
Well, that's a lot of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, even though it's still relatively new compared to Avengers and whatnot. But there's a lot of stuff. You just got to kind of collapse it all into something for the purposes of your film version.
Well, that's what they always do.
Yeah, except, the Avengers, it had a lot more nods to the original narrative. I mean, first of all, their first villain that the comic book Avengers went up against was Loki. So, it's things like that. Here, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as close to the original story, because it's just not set up for that. Except other than Baron Zemo, the rest of them aren't. They haven't introduced those characters. So anyway, Valentina Devontaine. Sorry, not Dawn.
It's a little bit stupid.
Well, maybe if they put Dawn in there.
But no one does a name like that.
No, they don't.
But who's her again?
Well, that's I believe the Elaine character.
Elaine?
Well, Julia Louis-Dreyfus,
Oh, from Seinfeld.
Right.
Oh, that's right. She was in
Yeah, she was. And so she's been showing up here and there, and she recruited the other Captain America who, beheaded somebody with his shield. And so Sam Wilson had to take over.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, it was. But anyway, who's him again? He's Kurt Russell's son.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so now he's going to become U.S. agent, because, you can put the USA word in it.
The U.S. Oh, okay. I get it now.
Yeah. So anyway, she's forming the Thunderbolts, and because she's actually a member of Hydra.
She is?
Yeah, well, in the comic book word, I'm assuming they're still going with that. But anyway, she's setting that up. So there's always something nefarious about it, despite the front that they're trying to do good, And they'll probably have the same conflicts where some of them, like especially U.S. Agent, he thinks he's doing something great when actually he's serving corrupt people and stuff. So anyway, the Thunderbolts are brought together to retrieve adamantium from the carcass of the dead celestial Tiamat. Maybe that's a misspelling.
Tiamat. What?
Well, there's Tiamat from ancient myths. But I guess maybe they changed the name for the. I don't recall Tiamat, but
maybe he's a hybrid celestial.
Could be, or was. He died.
When did this happen?
At the end of the Eternals.
Oh, that's right. That movie was amazing.
No, it was terrible.
You're just doom and gloom.
So anyway, finally they're going to refer to this because, yes, there's this ginormous celestial creature trapped in the Pacific Ocean, which would have a lot of ramifications. But since then, other movies just don't even mention it. None of the superheroes showed up to this, so it's a bit of a mess that they did it, but it would have been better to just ignore the Eternals ever happened because it's so bad.
Yeah, but if you stay to the ending, Harry Styles shows up.
Yeah, he did. So anyway, so they want to get the adamantium out of the giant before rival factions do. Boy, it sure took them a while to get there. Probably should have got on that immediately, but anyway. So another interesting thing is the Sentry.
The Sentry, like the 21st century?
No, the Sentry, like a guard, like that kind of, like spelled with an S.
I don't.
Well, anyway, just take my word for it.
Well, I rarely do.
But anyway, a Sentry is a member of the team who develops a malevolent split personality known as the Void.
Oh, like Moon Knight.
Yeah. And in the comics, they did have a crossover little adventure, and it was actually not bad. It was kind of funny, but they had shared problems. But anyway, the Void and it becomes a problem and threatens to destroy the entire planet, so the Thunderbolts must stop him. So actually, the real threat is one of their own, that type of thing. Which was actually the original plot of the Ultimates, which they probably should have used in the Avengers. But
that wouldn't have been the original story with Loki.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, the Sentry, and there's rumors. Here in this one, they list Ryan Gosling, Alan Skarsgård, and Alexander Ludwig being eyed for the role of the Sentry. That's been a while. Maybe they were. But since then, the rumor is Stephen Yeun, or the guy from The Walking Dead. Remember the one that Negan beat to death with his baseball bat?
Oh my God, that was so dramatic! Oh my God! So he's going to be a superhero now.
Yeah. They're going to race swap the Sentry.
Race swap.
Well, the Sentry was originally white and blonde.
Oh well, no, we can't have that. We've got enough white dudes. Come on.
So anyway, that's what they'll do. With that, but then he becomes this crazy monster.
So, well, he's got issues.
He sure does. The Sentry was introduced as this sort of event thing they did where they insinuated that this was one of the original Marvel superheroes from the 60s, but he had been wiped from everyone's memory because he was too dangerous. And but his main arch nemesis was a supervillain known as the Void. But surprise, surprise, the Void is actually him. It's just a split personality, and he's far too powerful. He seems like a Superman type character, but he's actually way more powerful than that. And he can't control his own personality or psyche or what have you. And they got to bring him down. And actually, I think they're pulling threads from the later Thunderbolt story with the Dark Avengers storyline that Norman Osborn was in charge of, and the Sentry just went nuts and started just wiping everybody out. And they, I think Thor ultimately had to take him down. But I don't know if Thor will show up here, but he could. But well,
but that could work if Thor showed.
Yeah, but I don't even know if this is even going to happen, considering the situation they're in. So finally, another member of the team is Bucky.
Oh, that's great. They gave him something to do.
Yeah. So he joins Thunderbolts, but as a spy for Captain America. Steve Rogers? No, Sam.
Oh, that's right, Sam. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Falcon.
He's not Falcon anymore. He's Captain America.
Yeah. So anyway, he says, hey, Bucky, go see what this is about. He says, all right. But he ends up becoming their leader and develops a bond with Yelena Belova.
Who?
She's the new Black Widow.
There's a new one?
Well, yeah, the original died in Endgame. And
oh, that's right. Her movie was like a prequel.
Right. And then we met her sister. And so she takes her place as the new Black Widow on the Thunderbolts.
Oh. Okay, see, it all works. This sounds like a great movie.
Well, it could be in the proper hands and whatnot. It's they got to go deal with this ginormous turd they left in the earth from the Eternals, but it might work out. You just never know.
You never know, but I do, because I have faith, and I think the MCU is just fine the way it is. And so it can only get better.
And that's what Captain America wants us to do.
That's right. Wants us all to do better.
The views and opinions expressed during the Mr. Nailsin show do not necessarily reflect those held by RadioMisfits.com. So, any complaints and or comments should be sent to @Mr. Nailsin on Twitter, where they will be promptly ignored and or blocked.
Night. What happened? I simply flooded the entire offices of Capes Confidential with my 99 amnesia gas. Oh, gee, well, I hope there's no severe side effects as a result of the gas, but...
What happened?
Well, I gotta hand it to you. You
Night,
saved
night.
me from the
Sun
trouble of
King.
having to kiss everybody in the room.
What's going on? I don't remember anything.